Welcome or welcome back. This is Catch Up Part 2, September Reads. In September, I had 2 DNFs, or books I didn't finish, and 12 that I did finish. Let's start with the DNFs. So our first DNF is by Julia Quinn, and it is called The Secrets of Sir Kenworthy. This one was a pretty late DNF. Like, I got to the 75% mark before I was just so completely infuriated that I had to stop reading this book. Julia Quinn's writing is fun. It's usually entertaining. What she cannot do under any circumstances is write a mystery, though. At all. She lies through her POV character. She lies to the audience. And that is one of my biggest pet peeves. Anyone who writes mystery well and successfully, that's not how you write a mystery. Sir Kenworthy has less than 1 month to find a bride. He knows he can't be too picky, but when he sees Iris Smythe-Smith hiding behind her cello at the family's infamous musicale, he thinks he might have struck gold. She's the type of girl you don't notice until the second or third look, but there's something about her, something simmering under the surface, and he knows she's the one. Iris Smythe-Smith is used to being underestimated. With her pale hair and quiet, sly wit, she tends to blend into the background, and she likes it that way. So when Richard Kenworthy demands an introduction, she is suspicious. He flirts, he charms, he gives every impression of a man falling in love, but she can't quite believe it's all true. And when his proposal of marriage turns into a compromising position that forces the issue, she can't help thinking that he's hiding something, even as her heart tells her to say yes. Yeah, this was bad. If Julia Quinn really wants to learn how to write any sort of mystery, she should really take cues from Jane Ann Krentz. Would be a fantastic resource. Anyone who writes romantic suspense would be an excellent resource for her. Doesn't seem like she gives a shit. The second and last book I DNF'd for September was Summer Reading by Jenn McKinlay. I stopped this at chapter 2 because the main character was not likable and also did not like reading. Like, she actively hated reading, and it was a little bit of a confusing message for me as someone who loves reading. Why would I want to be in the head of someone who hates it, who despises it, who thinks it's the biggest waste of time? It is a waste of time for me to read that character, be in their head. For Samantha Gale, a summer on Martha's Vineyard at her family's tiny cottage was supposed to be about resurrecting her career as a chef, until she's tasked with chaperoning her half-brother Tyler. The teenage brainiac is spending his summer at the local library in a robotics competition, and there's no place Sam, who has dyslexia, likes less than the library. And because the universe hates her, the library's interim director turns out to be the hot reader guy whose book she accidentally destroyed on the ferry ride to the island. Okay, I kind of remember that part. She is so dismissive of him valuing a book on that ferry ride that when she destroys his personal property, all she can seem to think about is, oh, he's just really hot. Too bad he reads. This is a dumb book. And I was like, oh my God. No, don't waste your time. On to some books that I actually read, all the way start to finish. A fair amount of this is going to be manga titles. The Yona of the Dawn Volume 1 by Mizuho Kusanagi. Yona reels from the shock of witnessing a loved one's murder and having to fight for her life. With Hawk's help, she flees the palace and struggles to survive while evading her enemy forces. But where will this displaced princess go when all the paths before her are uncertain? So this is young adult fantasy. She's a princess. She has a crush on one boy. Almost a rivalry going with another boy. It's cute, and then her entire world is turned upside down, and then she's on the run because they want to kill her as well, in a bid to seize control of the kingdom. I might continue this series. I thought it was very cute, and I like what I've heard about it. For a series that I will not continue, the first volume of The Seven Deadly Sins by Nakaba Suzuki. When they were accused of trying to overthrow the monarchy, the feared warriors, the Seven Deadly Sins, were sent into exile. Princess Elizabeth discovers the truth. The sins were framed by the King's Guard, the Holy Knights. Too late to prevent them from assassinating her father and seizing the throne. Now the princess is on the run, seeking the sins to help her reclaim the kingdom. But the first sin she meets, Meliodas, is a little innkeeper with a talking pig. He doesn't even have a real sword. Have the legends of the sin's strength been exaggerated? I didn't dislike it, but I was off-put by, I guess, just how many ass grabs there were. My husband and I had watched the first season. Okay, I kind of watched the first season on Netflix. What I remember of seeing the show, I did enjoy. I thought it was funny. I liked the relationships. To be fair, I did spend a lot of that time knitting or crocheting or doing something else. So was I paying all that much attention? Maybe not. I don't remember all of the touching of bodies. I feel like this is more 12-year-old boy type humor, but not in a way that appealed to me. For a series I continued, that was Pretty Guardian Sailor Moon Eternal Edition Volume 2 by Naoko Takeuchi. Teenager Usagi is not the best athlete, she's never gotten good grades, and well, she's a bit of a crybaby. But when she meets a talking cat, she begins a journey that will teach her she has a well of great strength just beneath the surface and the heart to inspire and stand up for her friends as Sailor Moon. That doesn't really tell you what this particular volume is about. Roughly, I think this one follows her as she continues to learn more about herself and her powers and her friends and the enemy. If you didn't know, Sailor Moon is a reincarnation story. Pretty sure it's in this volume that she finds out about their past lives. Friendship, love, kindness. Yeah, it's cute. It's a reread for me. I really enjoyed the series very much. It's been so nostalgic and wonderful rereading it. I highly recommend. This was also the month that I read Spy Family Volumes 7, 8, and 9 by Tatsuya Endo. Number 7, as Donovan Desmond is about to share a rare family moment with his son Damien, Twilight cuts in to meet his target face to face for the first time. Can Twilight find some way to endear himself to the inscrutable Donovan? Excellent question. Number 8, Yor is assigned to be a bodyguard for a mafia family on a cruise ship by the secret organization Garden. But with Lloyd and Anya also on board thanks to a giveaway they won, Yor is starting to have doubts about her secret life as an assassin. This one I remember way more clearly than Volume 7. The cruise ship was a ton of fun. Really, really fun. Because of course, you know, Yor is doing her assassin thing. There are a lot of people on board that she is against. Anya, of course, does her best to help with her mom. So, very, very cute. Volume 9. This continues the cruise ship. Yor's on assignment and finds herself up against a gang of assassins on board a luxury cruiser. Meanwhile, Lloyd and Anya each discover that bombs have been planted throughout the ship. Will their best efforts be enough to save the vessel? I mean, I could spoil that for you, but where's the fun in that? I feel like that covers the manga. Okay, on to romance. I have 2 more Julia Quinn books to talk about. A Night Like This. This was the second in the Smythe-Smith quartet. On a night like this in Regency, England, anything can happen, especially when a beautiful pianist sitting in at the annual Smythe-Smith musicale catches the eye of a hunted man in desperate need of redemption. So this one was terrible, but I did finish it. The reason it was terrible. So the pianist, the woman playing the piano in the Smythe-Smith quartet, she is not actually a Smythe-Smith. She is instead a governess to some of the younger Smythe-Smiths. And they desperately needed a pianist for the musicale. So she steps in. He has been on the run for years. He comes back into England. He's back in London. He sees the piano player playing and is immediately smitten. Of course, as you do. Well, he decides to pursue her romantically. He is a titled gentleman. She is a governess. He frequently is pursuing her despite her objections and is very, very pushy about it. Despite him growing up in an environment where governesses are routinely used and abused, at least according to the romance novels that I read, being a governess is a very awkward position to be in because you're close with the family, but you're not actually a viable life mate for anyone who would be in the family. He knows that he is placing her in a very difficult position, that he is asking her to essentially give up her livelihood in order to have some kisses with him. But there's no mention of any sort of security, any sort of marriage, not until well past him just continually pushing and pushing and pushing. I could not stand him. He was terrible. Number 3 of the Smythe-Smith quartet is The Sum of All Kisses. This one I rated as kind of mid, but I don't really remember why. I didn't dislike it the way I did the prior book. Sarah Plainsworth can't forgive Hugh Prentice for the duel he fought 3 years ago that nearly destroyed her family, sent her cousin fleeing, and left Hugh himself with a badly injured leg. That's fine with Hugh, who can't tolerate Sarah's dramatic ways. But when the two are forced to spend a week together, they find that unexpected kisses and mutual passion may have the power to change both of their minds. I do remember not particularly liking Sarah. She was really obnoxious. Not exactly what I'm into when I'm reading a main character. Moving on to some good romance novels. We have Amanda Quick's Til Death Do Us Part. Callista Langley operates an exclusive introduction agency in Victorian London, catering to respectable ladies and gentlemen who find themselves alone in the world. But now, a dangerously obsessed individual has begun sending her trinkets and gifts suitable only for those in deepest mourning. A black mirror, a funeral wreath, a ring set with black jet stone. Each is engraved with her initials. This was chilling and very good. This is a good example of romantic suspense. In a historical setting, there is a mystery. We have intelligent characters. Julia Quinn, please. Read Amanda Quick, Jane Ancrance, please. That one was very, very good. I liked it. Also by Amanda Quick is Close Up. This is, I believe, book 4? Yes, it's book 4 in the Burning Cove series, which is set in the 1930s, California. Vivian Brazier never thought life as an art photographer would include nightly wake-up calls to snap photos of grisly crime scenes or headshots for aspiring male actors. Although she is set on a career of transforming photography into a new art form, she knows her current work is what's paying the bills. After shooting crime scene photos of a famous actress, the latest victim of the murderer the press has dubbed the Dagger Killer, Vivian notices eerie similarities to the crime scenes of previous victims, details that only another photographer would have noticed. Details that put Vivian at the top of the killer's target list. This was a lot of fun. Honestly, just read anything by Amanda Quick, Jane Ancrance, Jane Castle. The last 2 books I read in September, and also the best books of the month. I am not sure if I can choose between these 2. They're by the same author. I loved them both so much. Start to finish, the writing style, the story, the journey, like everything was fantastic. And that is Genevieve Gornichec's The Witch's Heart. I do not know how to pronounce this name, so I am going to butcher it. Angerboda's story begins where most witches' tales end, with a burning, a punishment from Odin for refusing to provide him with knowledge of the future. The fire leaves Angerboda injured and powerless, and she flees into the farthest reaches of a remote forest. There she is found by a man who reveals himself to be Loki, and her initial distrust of him transforms into a deep and abiding love. Their union produces 3 unusual children, each with a secret destiny, who Angerboda is keen to raise at the edge of the world, safely hidden from Odin's all-seeing eye. But as Angerboda slowly recovers her prophetic powers, she learns that her blissful life, and possibly all of existence, is in danger. With help from the fierce huntress Scotty, with whom she shares a growing bond, Angerboda must choose whether she'll accept the fate she's foreseen for her beloved family, or rise to remake their future. From the most ancient of tales, this novel forges a story of love, loss, and hope for the modern age. This was gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous writing, storytelling, the little bits and pieces of her past that she doesn't remember that kind of come up throughout the story. Just, I don't even have words. This is such a good book. And also the cover is gorgeous. I will probably purchase these books. Yeah, I will purchase these because I love them so much. I want to own them. I want to be able to just pick them up off the shelf and read them at any time. And I have a feeling that anything that Genevieve Gornichec writes will fall into that category. I don't normally buy, I think I bought 1 book last year. a single book and it was nonfiction. Most of my reading is done through the library. I will own these books. I must. So the second book, The Weaver and the Witch Queen, which I believe came out in July. Odny and Gunhild meet as children in 10th century Norway, and they could not be more different. Odny hopes for a quiet life while Gunhild burns for power and longs to escape her cruel mother. But after a visiting wise woman makes an ominous prophecy that involves Odny, her sister Signy, and Gunhild, the three girls take a blood oath to help one another always. When Odny's farm is destroyed and Signy is kidnapped by Viking raiders, Odny is set adrift from the life she imagined, but she's determined to save her sister no matter the cost, even as she finds herself irresistibly drawn to one of the raiders who participated in the attack. And in the far north, Gunhild, who fled her home years ago to learn the ways of a witch, is surprised to find her destiny seems to be linked with that of the formidable King Eric, heir apparent to the ruler of all Norway. But the bonds, both enchanted and emotional, that hold the two women together are strong, and when they find their way back to each other, these bonds will be tested in ways they never could have foreseen in this deeply moving novel of magic history and sworn sisterhood. Like, I cannot choose between this book and The Witch's Heart. Again, the emotional journey, the storytelling, the writing style, everything about this is perfection. The books themselves are just stunning. These are two of the best books I read in all of 2023. All right, let's double check. 12, 13, 14. Yes, 2 DNFs, 12 finished books. If you take anything away from this, just read Genevieve Gornichec and Spy Family. Oh my gosh, just read Spy Family. And, you know, maybe give Sailor Moon a shot because it's wonderful. Well, hopefully I'll see you soon with an October catch up. Happy reading!